hold on. Sign me out, of course. Okay, go ahead.
Welcome. We're going to call this meeting to order. This is the Bath Charter Township Special Board meeting for Monday, May 11th, 2026. Let's do a roll call.
Mr. Fewins-Bliss?
I'm here.
Ms. Butler-Challender here. Ms. Wilson?
Here.
Ms. Hagerman? Here. Ms. Kellerman?
Here.
Mr. Kotke?
Here.
Mr. Rosekrans? Here. Thank you.
We are all here. Glad to have you all. Let's go to number 2, which is civic reflection. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and end with a moment of silence. So please stand and join if you are able for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now a moment of silence. Thank you. Purpose of today's special meeting is to talk about August millage opportunity. That is what is on our agenda. I did not hear any changes or requests for changes. This is also what we have posted, so I think this is probably what we need to run with. Is there any thoughts about that or motions to move forward?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We have an agenda. To remind folks who may not have either watched or been at the last meeting, we are going to hold a tree dedication for our fallen comrades from our previous board immediately after the board meeting, whenever that ends, and that'll be right outside here and down the road at Wiswasser Park, so would love for folks to join us for both of those. Item 4 is disclosure of conflicts of interest. Are there any conflicts of interest to disclose? We're all taxpayers, so I guess that puts us all in the same conflict. Hearing none, we'll go to item 5, which is public statements. This is the first opportunity for public statement, limited to 3 minutes, designated for statements concerning just today's current agenda items, which is Headley override ballot language possibilities for August election. There is a second opportunity at the end of the meeting to talk about other township business as you see fit for an additional 3 minutes. Should you want to discuss that. Is there anyone in the audience today who'd like to address the board on today's current agenda items? Seeing no movement, we will move on. Item 6 is new business. There are no items for introduction or discussion, but there are items for action. Again, our only topic for the evening, Headley override ballot language for the August election. We've been talking about our needs for additional revenue now for well over a year. We have set forth how we wanted to do that. We have done a special meeting to learn what those opportunities are. We've held additional meetings to discuss which of those options we're interested in. In our last meeting, we had some language from our friends at legal tell us what options we could think about and what we needed to do legally to make those things happen. This board indicated an interest in doing a Headley override to capture back the loss of our charter township operating millage that has come over the last decades and decades since Headley became an issue. So what you see on your agenda are options for what that override ballot language could look like, because it seemed like there was consensus, or at least a majority of us that wanted to think about an August ballot versus a November ballot. So what you have in your packet are the options from our friends at legal on what we can structure, how we can structure that millage increase. I've also provided some things at the table. One is the budget resolution from last year, which outlines how much money we're bringing in revenues and how much money we're putting out in expenditures. You'll see there's a gap of about $560,000 more expenditure than revenue, so a hole that we're filling with fund balance right now. And then the second piece of paper is a printout from our approved strategic plan. I've highlighted two areas that deal with what we're talking about tonight. One is revenue strategies being finalized by May 1. We're not quite at May 1, but we're real close. And then community approval for a ballot question by August 4th, 2026. So again, we've identified the problem, we've identified potential solutions, we've whittled down those possible solutions. We are following our approved strategic plan, so I think we've done all of the things that we are meant to do to get us here tonight. The topic tonight is, do we still want to move forward with the Headley override? Do we still want to move forward with it in August? And what rate would we like to propose to our voters to approve? Did I miss anything in that summary? Taylor or Dave? All right. So how are you all feeling?
Feeling good. How are you feeling?
Great, glad to be here. We got good, we got terrible, good. We've got the gamut here. So, is anyone interested in not moving forward with the Headley override or revisiting the topic of when we might put that on the ballot?
No, it needs to go forward.
Okay,
My only concern is that I feel this is gonna require a pretty solid PR education, strategy to go along with it, given the time frame that we have. But, I mean, this is probably a typical time frame, of just, 3 months or whatever, but, given the state of our national economy right now, I wanna make sure that this doesn't seem like too big of an ask and that we have a good rationale, which I feel we do. But I wanna make sure that we're able to really effectively communicate that to the people in Bath Township, to the voters, and that, I don't wanna say that we're controlling the narrative, but we're taking the advantage to present our narrative effectively. I just wanna make sure that we feel that I guess the staff is able to do that in the time frame that we have, especially with Karen out for part of it.
are you addressing that to the board or to the
Well, I
staff?
don't know, it's just a question that, a concern that I have, I don't know, I suppose the staff would be the best
And I
to
think,
answer that, but,
and I think Karen brought that up at a meeting, that she would want to do PR for it, so.
well, I think we would
I mean,
have to.
I mean, some people, some places just put it on the ballot and say, here you go, vote for it, yes or no. So,
Right.
for us to do that,
In this timing, I think it would fail. It just, it's so important that everybody understands, to my thought, and I wondered about, I'm sorry if I'm out of line here. If we do the Headley first before the vote, is that, do I
well, we
understand
have
that?
to, no, this is to go to the voters.
This one's to go to the voters?
We are voting, so it goes to the voters.
Right, all of it. We're not going to raise it
We can't raise it unless they vote yes.
without they vote. Okay, there's only
There were
one,
some
okay.
other options that we could take, but
Correct.
we decided not to at the
Yeah,
last
okay, that's
meeting.
what I
The
wanted.
Headley
There wasn't
override
two.
I
specifically
mean, I
needs to
suppose
go
they
to the
still
voters.
technically are on the
Right.
table, but.
And if it, if
Because
I,
if this fails in August, then we
We
still
can.
have the right to go
okay, that's
and
my
do
question.
something else.
Okay, that was
Yeah.
my question, and that answers it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
do
think
something
just-
else in November ballot or,
Special
other
assessment.
options.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Part of the confusion, I think, could come from the fact that we're saying public safety costs so much money and public safety is mainly taking almost $500,000 out of our budget. And people are gonna say, but we just approved money for public safety 2
we didn't
years
even-
ago. And we understand that, yes, but that wasn't enough.
Because that had
Instead
not
of
been raised in
Instead of
years.
losing $800,000 out of general fund, now we're only losing
Yep.
500 because of that. So I think it's just really important that we clearly lay out the rationale behind this, because I think it could be really open to confusion and misinterpretation if we don't get ahead of it.
Well, and everybody, nobody wants to raise taxes, if they don't have to. I certainly don't like paying more taxes. But in a nutshell, we have a $560,000 hole, and it's gonna get bigger and bigger. It's never gonna get smaller.
We're gonna run out of funds.
and we're gonna run out of money. And so, instead of being ultra drastic or bankrupt, at the worst case scenario, we're trying hard to, ask the voters to understand and to help us in, filling that hole. We're gonna get a lot of kickback from the public saying, no, I don't care what it is, no tax, no more taxes. And I agree, you know, nobody likes to pay taxes, but it's just the nature of the game if you want police and fire. And it was exemplified night before last,
Yes, it certainly was.
if you heard about the big fire.
And that we didn't have a ladder truck that they needed.
Yeah, and we have we need 2 trucks, and we don't have them, so.
Brenda?
So what are your thoughts on staff, getting the information out to the public? Are we thinking of just the website? Are we thinking of a special mailing? Can we even do a special mailing?
The
So-
village.
Yeah, I know that there are constraints under Michigan law for the way in which the township can communicate related to a millage question. Now, most of it is not in the method of communication, but the content of it. And so back when the public safety millage was up, we did have conversations trying to explain those parameters, and I know that the deputy superintendent was involved in those, so we'd be happy to recirculate those. But the concern in Michigan law with some of the education that communities will try to present related to millage requests is that you're using taxpayer funds to kind of advocate to raise
Yeah.
more, and so it has to be purely educational. But certainly the township staff here will be able to create public-facing materials to go out to educate them on exactly what this would do related to overriding the Headley rollbacks that have happened over the past decades. And also explain then what the funds can be used for and that they won't be earmarked because it's for general operating. So we can work certainly with staff to make sure that that goes out, but hopefully that provides some clarity as to what staff's going to be able to do.
And as elected officials, we're not encumbered upon what we say as long as we're not using taxpayer funds to put it out.
Correct, yeah, as individual members, it's the constraints are different.
So you all could be in meetings or in the community and share your opinion, not just specific facts as we would present them on behalf of the township.
I don't know that we answered Brenda's question though.
I can add to that. So similar to, what David was saying, we would definitely do some sort of mailing. It would probably be, like a postcard similar to what we did with the public safety millage, and then referring them to, a web page on the website that would have more in-depth information, probably similar with what we did before of having like some charts and things like that, some visuals that will be, you know, a snapshot that's easy for people to understand instead of a bunch of words. But we would work with legal certainly, and then probably with Rod Taylor, to kind of develop that messaging like we did before and make sure that it's how we want the narrative to be, and then get some good, graphics going that also illustrate that.
Can you tell us in a nutshell or ballpark how much a mailing will cost of the big postcard that you sent out?
I don't remember off the top of my head how much it cost last time. We don't do postcards often, so
Well,
it's hard for me
I know
to-
it's a
Yeah.
kind of a little bit bigger than a
But I know
postcard.
when we do like my newsletter, which is multiple pages, it's usually like $3,000 to print and then about $1,500 to mail. So that's for like a multi-page
Yeah, yeah.
situation, but.
So between 3,000 and 5,000. Just, you know, so people know what that's gonna cost. Unfortunately, it costs money to get information out.
Yeah.
Because you can't get all 11,000 people in this room.
I do know that, I will be mailing out absentee ballots right around June 24th, 25th. So I think we'll wanna maybe get the mailing out right around the same time.
Yeah.
Last time we were a little late,
Yeah,
and so.
this time we'll definitely, like, probably this week I would be reaching out to Rod and legal to kind of start that process that we're ahead of the game.
We have
When will you
about
send it?
When are you sending stuff out?
3,000, June 24th or 25th, I'm
Okay, so
required.
tax bills go out the following week.
Yep.
We're gonna
A
have a
lot
lot of mail.
of things going to people's homes the last 2 weeks.
There will
June
also
as
be a
well.
mail, telling, voters about early voting
Okay.
that I'm required to send out by the 20th.
So,
Can I share one important thing from the board?
Sure.
Beth Kotke, I'm your assessor, plus I also sit on the tax allocation board for Clinton County, appointed by Judge Sullivan. That tax allocation board also recommended to the Clinton County Board of Commissioners to reset the Headley for general law townships, the county, and for your Clinton County RISA. That's gonna be going to the vote of the people for the August election. That also sets their Headley, so they'll be doing education out to the public as well. That's generally the same kind of concept that you're looking for your education. So that'll be going out for the people as well. So you might be able to piggyback some of that information, not only as part of what your education will be for people to learn from, but it's also gonna be on the ballot, so they'll be seeing that twice. So it's not gonna be just something new for what you're seeing, it'll be something that's there. They reset theirs every 4 years, and they have been for quite some time. So I think that they'll be seeing it, it's not, I don't think you should be thinking that it's just something that this is gonna be brand new. It's brand new to Bath Township, but it's not brand new to Clayton County. So it's just something that you should have then refreshed in the back of your head. You probably all voted on it and maybe not even realize that you did vote on it,
So this year, Bath Township voters will be asked to roll back the county and the RISA at the same time as what we're proposing doing the township.
correct.
That's super helpful, thank you.
that's quite a big picture.
Do those all typically pass every 4 years? Should have asked that while you're still standing there, sorry.
That's okay, I said, you're good now. Yes, they usually pass. The margin has gotten a little bit closer, but not, actually, my numbers are right here.
Seems to me St. John's turned.
I think I
Yeah.
have it right here, just a second.
St. John's has voted no on some school bonds recently, but that's different than this.
The margin has been considerably, pretty wide margin. My packet was.
It's my stomach.
So, let's see here. We're usually about 2,000 gap between 2018, there was like a 4,000 gap between the yes and the no.
Is that countywide or just for the voters in
Countywide.
Bath
No,
Township?
I only have
Oh, you
countywide
only have
stuff, sorry.
county, okay, no, that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, so between 3,600 and 4,400 is usually the gap between yes and no,
Out of how many?
County voters,
out
No,
of county
I know.
voters.
you know.
Oh, you don't have that number?
Maybe
For
like
the
10,000
total amount
or
of voters?
something, maybe.
No, it's like 20,000.
Oh, wow, okay.
Do you recall, or do you have in your packet what you are asking, or what you've recommended to ask for the closing of, what's the percentage?
Like the
What-
7.
Like, what is it rolled back, I guess, is a better way to ask it.
7.1, like what did it go down to, you mean?
Like, what are you asking us voters to close now? Are you asking for an increase of like
roll back
0.5
down.
or,
So roll down to, it went down to, 6, it's very minimal, cause they keep rolling it every couple of years. 7.1 is the whole, and I'm trying to find the total here.
It looks like it's 5.7 on this.
The county?
Well, cause it's the county and then it's a township. And the
Oh,
township would
okay.
be 1, so the county's 5.8, it's 1, and then your Clinton County reset is 2, so it's 7 whole, and then it went down to, depending on which township you're in. Because some of the townships are still at 1, some of them went down a little bit from there, and the counties went down. So it's, I don't actually have a total on here because it's,
Different
each
for every
township is different.
township.
And they've reset it like every
Right.
4 years, so it's a lot, the margin is smaller.
Much smaller than we're
From what you're
talking about.
asking here, because they reset it every 4 years. Because the allocation board has to meet every 4 years by statute to make the determination if they should be resetting it.
So that's probably something we should be doing here, is resetting it every 4 years.
Instead
Or
of
at least
every 20.
discussing it.
Or at
40
least
years.
discussing it.
Yeah.
Instead of 40 years.
Can I ask
I mean-
Beth a question?
Yeah.
Beth, can you help us understand how much it will affect the increase for our residents, like for a $100,000 house or a $200,000 house?
Percentage, maybe, would be.
100, I think I did like,
Yeah,
I
I got it, Beth. You and I, when we
Yeah, we
calculated it
calculated
earlier.
it earlier, so if it was an average of a $200,000 house with a basic, $200,000 house that's equal taxable value,
Yeah.
state equalized value, because you have to
Yep.
look at them both equal, because some people will have a $200,000 house and they could have a taxable value that's lower, so their taxable value and their state equalized value, if they're equal, we have to look at that. So I believe that it would be like around $147 a year, which would make about $12.25 a month
Yeah.
if you went with the 1.47.
Yeah, to take us
That's
back to the
nice.
5 mils.
If we went to the full amount.
And
That would
then
be
the
your
average
estimate amount.
house value in Bath, we learned was 260,000, so it's probably just a little bit more
Yeah,
than that
Yes.
amount for the average
Yeah.
home.
yeah.
We do have lower ones and we have higher ones.
Yeah.
So
So when her and I were talking, I'm like, just give me an estimate
That's a good
about
average.
what,
we just
Yeah.
went
You
with
know.
we went with an easier number
Yeah.
for everyone to be
Yep.
able to just be able to grasp.
I thought that would help everybody
Mm-hmm.
understand what we were asking for.
so it's like $147 a year
For the average
for the,
cost.
almost an average cost.
And here it says that median in Bath is
Well,
$293,000.
that's median, which
That's
is in the
median.
middle.
Middle,
Yeah.
As
okay,
opposed to
So we're just trying to give
Average.
you an
Yeah.
average ballpark figure,
Yeah,
okay.
the round numbers is easier to work with.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So in your packet, thank you, Beth, that was really helpful.
Do you need anything else? Let me know.
Thanks.
Thank you.
In your packets, you have 3 different versions of what we could ask for. We could also come up with some other version if we wanted to. And one of the questions that Kate, I think you had asked was, are we still one of the lowest in the region? So I asked our team to pull those numbers, and so that's the chart that you see on page 3 of your packet. And the answer is, after our police and fire, our public safety millage went up last year, we overcame DeWitt Charter Township by just a little bit.
Well, it looks like that almost is related to the school also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking for it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're at 5, we're at 7 for their
Right.
debt.
So we've got an option for 0.5 mil, we've got an option for 0.8 mils, we've got an option for 1 mil, excuse me, there's 4 options.
There's 4
And
options, yeah, you
an
can-
option for the full closing, to close the 5 mil gap, which is 1.4652. If you recall, the difference in the approved fiscal year 26 budget is $560,000. So of the options that we have been given, the 1 mil is the minimum that gets us to cover that 560. That's without any cuts or changes from this fiscal year to the next, or without any increases in terms of inflation from one year to the next. But if we wanted to close that whole gap, it looks like the 1 would be the minimum of the items we've been provided. there's probably like a 0.9 version that would get us there as well.
So you take a quarter of the pill, half of the pill, 3/4? or-
Well, and I don't know why we wouldn't just try to go back to the 5 mils and start from fresh again.
Is that
Well,
more apt
because
to be
it's just
voted down?
the largest increase.
That's the largest increase, yeah.
But what, I will say what the 5 mils allows you to do is not actually leverage all 5 mils. It gives us
Right,
the
we-
permission to do it. I
Right.
know it's hard to tell the public,
Yeah.
like, trust us,
Yeah.
we're not gonna leverage it
Right.
I mean,
all.
yeah,
Right.
But it
Right.
does give us that opportunity to not have to go back to them.
And I guess it just depends on what would our goals be, should it pass, what would we do with that additional money after we're not draining from the fund balance, that would give us $300,000, is that money that we wanna immediately put toward a fire truck, is that money that we wanna dedicate toward roads, what are our priorities with that money that would be beyond just preserving the fund balance?
Well,
and that's something to talk about after it's passed and we're in the budget process then.
Well, but I think it's a fair question ahead of
I mean,
time, no?
well,
Yeah.
Otherwise,
we don't
people
know.
would say, well, why don't you just ask for what you just need?
well.
Because
and-
your needs are always gonna go up.
Yeah, they're not, we're gonna go down.
I mean, honestly, I mean, look, our fire department's gonna need more people. That's just gonna go up.
That's
And we're taking, what, 120
clear.
out for senior center too, subsidy.
160, I think.
It's on 169, in fact, wasn't it? I don't have that right here, but.
So those are the types of things where if the public were to say like, what do we lose if we don't
Yeah.
close the gap and we'd have to do cuts? You know, senior services is not required of us statutorily, it's, I won't say it's an easy place to grab 160,000, but it is one that is sitting out there that could be closed in one fell swoop. Along with, you know, Parks and Rec and other important things. The day after our last meeting, I think it was, I was here in the township doing some business, and I was walking out to my car, and there was a gentleman here standing at the front, and he was asking our staff, and I try not to eavesdrop on people, but I could hear pieces of it. It was something like, do you offer this service, or this, the ability to do something? And our staff was like, no, I'm sorry, we don't have the opportunity to do that. And the guy literally said out loud, it's 2026, how do we not have the opportunity to do that in a modern place? And I was like, that's the thing. We already still have places that we need to close the gap in terms of modernizing our operations and our staffing. To start rolling things back would be particularly painful in a way that I think the average resident doesn't realize until they come up here seeking, you know, online version of this or the ability to submit that. It becomes real obvious where we still have some growing to do.
Parks and Rec was 187,
1,000?
yes.
Oh, go ahead. Don't call me a dingling either.
We went for money 2 years ago. We didn't get enough. We should have gone for more. We're going for money now. We're not considering our roads going down the way they do go down. And if, then we have to come back 2 more years and do it again. I'd wonder what this board was thinking.
You mean-
We either got to
Do you mean,
bite the bullet and ask for what we gotta have to run this township. Don't piecemeal.
so what you're saying is don't ask, say, for half now and half in 2 years?
That's right,
Correct.
you won't get it.
I
People,
feel like death by 1,000 cuts.
yeah,
Well, that's
I think that's a good point, yeah.
one logic, definitely,
The other logic is
Valid.
if we ask for too much, we won't get it.
yeah.
and they will. If you don't keep putting money into them, you'll end up with, people madder than they are by,
Yeah,
when they bring their car bills in, they show them to you and say, look what it cost me for that road that you got.
well, then there's the argument that wouldn't you want some if you can't get all of it?
You did that last time.
With the,
And now we set back
Public
here
safety
asking for
millage.
money again.
That is actually the exact conversation we had, Al, was let's not go too high on the public safety, even though we know we need more to not scare people off. And it's hard to know if that would have done it or not, but the millage did pass with flying
I think
colors.
the people are smart enough to tell, if you tell them what you need, and tell them that your roads, your police, and your fire are the important things in the township to keep a viable township. I talked to somebody the other day, and they didn't have a police department. They were using the county, and they were very unhappy.
You don't see a lot of patrols that way. You know, the county does what they can, but they only have so many officers.
They don't have the number of people. And it still costs them, Westphalia, it still costs them as much to have the county does it as to have their own people.
yeah, because they're paying the county to come out so many hours a week to patrol the area.
They just don't cover the area.
So are you making a motion?
I'd like to.
Go ahead.
I think we gotta go for whatever,
The full,
which one was the one with,
Number 4,
number 4?
page
Yeah.
13.
Number 4 would return us to the full 5 mils,
page 13, yeah.
as approved in what, 1978?
Yeah,
Roughly.
yeah, right
You
around
were around
there.
back then, weren't you, Davis?
Yeah, I make that
She wasn't
motion.
even-
Weren't you?
No, I was not, actually.
I make that motion that we go with, option number 4, and let the people know that we're
Back to 5 mils,
coming
okay.
one time, not gonna piecemeal them or cut them, like Ryan said,
Death by a thousand cuts.
Yeah,
And then it makes it like Beth was saying, if we wanted to do it every so often, the rate becomes real small. It doesn't
Correct.
feel like
A big
such an attack.
Well, we've kicked the can down the road a lot of times. And, you just, sooner or later, we'll catch up with you.
Yeah, it's been like 50 years,
It has.
like literally
Yes.
50 years.
yeah.
Can't be since 1999.
What I hear the motion to be is to choose the 4th option in our packet, which is a Headley override to roll us all the way back to 5 mils, which is an increase of 1.4652.
I'll
Yes,
second that.
all right, we have a second. Is there further discussion? And again, this would appear on the August ballot. Hearing none, are we ready to vote? All right,
Ms. Kellerman,
Yes.
Mr. Kotke,
No.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes,
Mr. Fewins-Bliss?
yes.
Ms. Butler-Chalender, yes. Mr. Rosekrans?
Yes.
Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, that motion carries. So do you need anything from us to move this forward, or is your piece of this done?
Yeah, we're all set. We worked with the clerk in figuring out what to do with the county, and then I'll talk to you after about
Okay.
getting it properly reported in the minutes. So
Yep.
we'll be all set, and we'll get the ballot questions certified tomorrow.
Great.
And then, I mean, if we're doing an election, it sounds like we would have to do one anyway, so.
Yeah. We have 2 more elections, August and November.
It's also the
It's the
primary,
primary this year.
Oh, that's.
so there'll actually be a
Yeah.
ton of stuff on the
there'll be,
ballot.
yeah, the balance will be
Yeah.
big.
All right, then I will also commit to working with staff on the education plan so that we know what's happening with that. Maybe there'll be some options that we could present to the board to make sure that folks understand what this is, the why this is, what this would mean. Hopefully to understand why we had to take such a drastic measure. Any other comments or questions about that piece?
I don't know if this is a dumb question or not, but will we have a public hearing or a public meeting about this? Or is this the meeting?
There's not one required legally. We
Okay,
could
that's-
host a town hall on it should we want to.
Yeah.
Might be a good idea.
I mean, we're gonna have the flyers and everything going out.
Yeah.
And maybe that will let us know if we need to have one.
Well, nobody likes to be on the whipping post, but, you know, it's an idea.
Yeah, I mean, folks have shown up to all of the town halls that we have done so far, and just talked to our legal folks about doing another one about the soccer fields too, that I'm gonna share with you all, so it's certainly an option. The other piece that I think has to be part of our messaging on this is the changes we've made to the employee retirement and the changes we've made to the employee healthcare. Like, employees have contributed to this, these cuts and lack of growth, I guess perhaps is a better way to say it, over time. So it's not that we have done nothing on that side. We've actually taken things that probably should have been also done 40 years ago, and did them.
Maybe 15.
So I think that'll be part of the messaging, or at least should be, so that folks understand that there's been sacrifice on other individuals as well, which we appreciate. All right, if there's no further business on the Headley override August election stuff, we'll move on. Hearing none, that brings us to the end of our business, public statement 2. This is limited to 3 minutes on any topic. If you'd like to address the board on that topic, please step up, introduce yourself. We'll start your 3 minutes up on the screen, and enjoy.
Beth Baki, assessor. This millage, regional millage rate comparison, if you're gonna use this for your education part of it, you need to get it correct. So this one is not correct that you had in your packet. You have stuff on here that have schools, stuff that doesn't have schools. If you're gonna have a school on there, make sure it's the right school. And then if you're trying to compare them together, make sure you have them. You have townships on here that are charter townships. They can only collect up to 5 mills. If it's over 5 mills and they're operating, then they must have extra voted millage. So if you're trying to have apples to apples, make sure you have the right things. You can get that on the state's website. So when you're trying to compare things, people can actually get the right information. Because if you're putting this out there and it's not right, it's gonna come back to you. And that's the things that are gonna come back, and people are gonna be like, this isn't gonna work for you. So I think that you probably should have other people that have this information and know these things. You might wanna have them review those. So that would just be my 2 cents to you, and hopefully you'll take it. Thanks.
Thanks. I imagine you'd be okay us sending the staff member who created this back to you?
Yeah.
Great. Other public statement? All right, hearing none, we'll go to board member, oh, go ahead.
Raising it now.
I think your education, Ray Severing, your education is gonna be very important, because this increase is 41% increase. People are gonna figure that out and say, boy, that's a pretty big increase.
41% of what?
41% of what you're paying right now.
No, it's
41.
No.
If you go by the millage, that's a 41% increase in the millage.
no, it's $147 a year on a $200,000 house with a taxable value of $100,000. It's not even close to 41%.
But I just took your current millage is what, 3.548?
Yeah.
If you divide the 1.465 increase into that, by that, that's 41%. That's a 41% increase in your millage rate. So for a $200,000 taxable property, it's gonna increase their stuff by, what, right now they're paying about $300.
No,
I know, the increase is about 300,
yeah, per year.
yeah, per year. I'm
But a
gonna figure this out
$300,000
for one.
probably has
If you go to the one mill one, they're paying right now, they'd be paying $940 and $964. I guess
But it
people are
would
gonna
be
figure out what that percentage is, and when you start dealing with percentages, that's a big percent.
But this is just a percentage of the operating millage, and the operating millage is just one line item on the full tax bill. So it's not like the full tax bill is going up 41%.
They need to know that then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they need to know that.
I mean, it's just the township's millage, it's not the schools, it's not the, yeah.
Right.
Right, but I could see how somebody who was against it could misconstrue it by putting that information out
That needs
there,
to be
which I think is
clear.
what you're trying to
How much
say.
does your tax, what percent is my tax going to go up? That's my
Oh,
question.
yeah, we'll get those phone
That's,
calls.
The
yeah.
net-
But
net-
that's what we should present, I think.
We can give examples. I think we
Yeah.
did for the millage, for the public safety one. There was
Yeah.
examples of how much yours would go up if we
Right.
increased it by the 1 mil.
Yeah,
We
So,
need to.
yeah,
that's
there'll be
important.
examples like there was before.
you can simply look and say, I pay $1.
When I looked at my tax statement, I was amazed at how little money the township gets
Correct,
out of the taxes that I pay.
That's the unfortunate
I don't
truth
know how we
right there.
changed that, but
correct.
we don't get much.
No,
And we're not getting our share of gas tax either anymore.
Any other public comment? All right, hearing none, we'll go to board member comments. Kate, it's your lucky turn to start first.
Oh, goodness. I don't remember what I thought I was gonna say, but I'll get another chance tomorrow night at the planning commission, so. Hopefully it'll come to me by then.
That was a good out. I like that.
Al?
I have nothing, I just, if the people know exactly what this will do, the scary part is, we've got the sewer that we have to maintain, and we have a fire department with a fire truck, that ours are 22 years old?
25, yeah.
And, we're doing the best we can do with what the money we got.
Think so.
I guess what I did want to say is a shout out to the police and fire and public safety and everyone who helped out at the fire, I'm sure, the other night. I know we just listened to them say, hopefully there'll be nothing major happening for a while, but it's just the nature of the business, I think.
Just want everybody to know, I'm starting to send out absent voter applications tomorrow or the next day. So we're already into the August election.
And your last election passed
Yes.
for the Ingham County folks. There has been lots of movement in the past 72 hours online about stuff happening at the Housing Commission. I'm sure board members are getting lots of feedback on this. I know staff is getting requests for comment. But for the public to understand, the Housing Commission is a separate entity from us. We have the ability to name housing commissioners, but that's pretty much the limit of where we control over there. That's different for Jen, who we put on the Housing Commission. You are responsible for that.
Yeah.
The rest of us aren't, so of course, we'll take feedback from anybody about any topic, but if folks want to give feedback about what's happening over there, it's really helpful to go to the Housing Commissioners themselves so they can get and collect that feedback. Go to those board meetings, speak in their public comment as well. To give that feedback. I imagine there'll be more in the media as more things happen over there. I also want to say thank you to the fire department and the neighboring agencies that showed up. I watched some of the live Facebook feed of them putting out the fire. Folks, of course, they, as always, were very heroic and very good at their jobs, really proud of them. I know they were doing running or something earlier in the day and training earlier in the week, so really happy that they were able to perform as well as they did, and so sorry to the folks that lost their housing over there. It sounds like they'll be out of that housing facility for a while it's repaired. And then lastly, a reminder, we have a tree dedication happening right after we close this meeting. We're starting over here, and this is Kathy's tree over here, and then Joe's tree over at the park. So again, hopefully folks are sticking around to join us, and if you are within a 5-minute drive, come on down real quick and join us there. But happy to dedicate trees that will hopefully live on forever in the township property for our board members that we lost in the last term. Jen?
Nothing.
I'm all set. Pretty much everybody said what I was gonna say.
Same here.
That's great. Next meeting will be a week from today. That is a regular meeting, and we'll have a whole agenda, so we'll see you then. A motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjournment say aye. Aye. Any opposed?